Hi everyone, this is Julie Bruns. Welcome to the Peace and Possibilities podcast. I want you to thrive and be happy, peaceful, and content, no matter where you are on your journey. This podcast shares stories that will show you how it can be done, no matter what your circumstances. You'll be inspired and come away with a new spark of an idea. Never forget, anything is possible. New episodes are released every Wednesday. Subscribe, rate us, and leave us a review. This helps others find our content and get happier sooner. To possibility and beyond. Okay, welcome everyone. My guest this week is John Russo. And John and I met through a networking group that we're both involved in called V50. It's really cool. I love the group, John. I don't know how you feel about it, but it's an amazing group of people that are just trying to make the world a better place, which is something that's near and dear to my heart. So thanks for joining, and I'm excited to have you on and ask you some cool questions about what you do.
Yeah, I'm excited to be on as well. And V50 is fantastic, really. It's difficult to find places today where people support each other professionally in such a way like that. It's typically a competitive environment, and it's really refreshing.
I couldn't agree more. Competitive, it's so funny. Yeah, it's like the opposite of that. It's just like, how can I help you? What do you need? And I'm happy it helps. It's great energy, and I'm really excited to meet all the people I've met so far. So John, all I know about you is that you have a YouTube channel. I don't know about your background and how you got to where you are with your YouTube channel. So tell everyone what you do. And I really mostly want to know initially what you're doing now. I think you do a couple of different things. If it's always what you saw yourself doing, or if it was one of those things where like when you were in high school and you could never see yourself doing what you're doing now. I'm mostly curious about that. So tell everyone what you do.
Yeah, I can kind of give you a little bit of background on both things. One, kind of my employer, my day job, and two, my YouTube channel. So when I was young, I envisioned myself being a medical doctor. I, in fact, have a bachelor's degree in biology from Seton Hall and always saw myself doing that. Interestingly enough, I just had some situations with close family members that I thought weren't handled very well from medical staff. And so it kind of turned me off to that particular thing. I moved on and ended up getting an MBA later in life. I think it was 2004, the same year I got married. And when I first started dating my wife, I was working in a health food store, managing that store. And so it just got to the point where, okay, you have a degree now, like let's decide where you want to move forward career-wise to kind of leverage that degree. So I said, I want to do IT, just kind of like pie in the sky wish. I want to do IT. So it's not so simple to just do IT.
Yeah.
So I ended up getting a job doing kind of tier 3 support in a contact center for a large telecom. And I had no contact center experience. So funny story, I would take calls from irate customers who had gotten escalated several times. And basically, I knew that I had at my disposal a room full of accessories for these cell phones I was supporting. So I would lay the phone down, let them yell for 10 minutes. And when I heard the noise dissipate, I would pick up the phone and say, would it make you happy if I'd send you a free charger, case, and so forth? Well, yeah, okay, I've already done all the paperwork while you were going on, and it's on its way to your house already. And that's how I solved it.
That's brilliant.
Yeah. So one day I decided I was getting paid hourly. So I decided to go into work early one day, and I ended up on the elevator with the director of QA. So he says, we start talking about my aspirations, and he says, well, do you know what QA is? And I said, no. He said, it's quality assurance. Look it up, search the internet. If you're interested, come talk to me tomorrow, and I have an offering for you. And that's how I got into IT, doing quality assurance.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It also goes to show you, like, just going in there early, something you didn't do all the time, right? You just happened to be on the elevator with that person.
Yeah, it was a literal elevator pitch.
Yeah, it's crazy. And you just never know who you're in the elevator with, who you're about to talk to, what the position is. You just don't know. So that's kind of cool that it happened that way.
Yeah, it was interesting because we developed a relationship, and then he ended up going off to another company. I was eventually laid off from that company, and he got me a job with that second company as well. So
wow.
Relationships matter in life for sure.
Huge proponent of connecting and relationships for sure. Okay, so what do you do now today? You're in IT still, and what else?
I am, yeah. So my day job, I am a manager of business analyst, we work with service performance management software. So ironically, in the contact center space, like kind of where I started off with, but on the vendor side now. So we help like very large Fortune 100 well-known companies make their agent interactions with their customers more efficient. So that's basically what I do. I manage a group of business analysts that implement that enterprise software. Then kind of on the side with the whole world situation going on, I decided, I've always wanted to start a YouTube channel. Why don't I do that? What am I passionate about? What do I like? And so, you start thinking back to your childhood, and I'm an only child. So as an only child, I had to invent things to have fun with.
Mm.
And, you know, I like lifting weights and stuff like that, but I had a lot more fun pushing my dad's car up and down the driveway. I just, came up with these innovative things. And so I decided, that my whole life has been patterned that way. Like when someone says we need to move that couch, let's get all our friends, I do it by myself. It's just fun for me. I see rocks in the yard and, people get wheelbarrows. I don't, I carry them. It's just something that's fun for me. So I thought, a lot of people are having struggles getting to the gym during these lockdowns, and they're not having that mental and physical outlet to be able to do those things. So let me try to teach people how to leverage everyday objects that are all around them and get that workout in and get that mental and physical release. And I'm a big fan of strongman, so the world's strongest man competitions, and I've kind of spun my YouTube channel into both things, sort of promoting them because I feel like it's an underserved sport. Like I want to bring them into the mainstream like football and basketball are. They don't get paid nearly enough for what they do. And, they're the strongest people in the whole world. Like they should be more recognized. So
Right.
I made my channel both things, right? Like here's what strongmen do, and here's how you can do what they do on a much smaller scale to achieve, small goals matter is kind of my mantra, right? So to achieve those small goals for yourself.
That's cool. That is cool that and I agree. Like you just said, the strongest people in the world, like everyone should know about them. Like it's this achievement that not very few people are gonna be able to accomplish. So yeah, why wouldn't they be more, what's the word? Have more exposure.
Recognized.
Yeah. More recognized.
So
Yeah.
what I ended up doing was I kind of did a spin on the word. So they're the world's strongest man. So I said, and I have these kind of midlife crises every time the Olympics come around. Like, if I had tried all my life to practice running that fast, could I run that fast? Or like Michael Phelps, could I swim that fast? And so I keep having these crises. And now at this age, I say, let's give all that up and let's have, have an accomplishment within the confines of something you can do, like SMART goals, right? Something that's attainable.
Yeah.
So I named my channel My Block's Strongest Man, right? I can't be the strongest man in the world or probably even in the city, but I guarantee I'm the strongest man on my block. And it's kind of a metaphor. Yeah, it's kind of a metaphor for everybody to create a goal with something they know they can achieve so they can get that sense of accomplishment without feeling like, these famous athletes or intellectuals are just so far above them.
That's such a great and like enlightening and optimistic way of looking at it too, like you said. So it'd be cool if you could be the strongest man in the world, and maybe you could if you worked at it and only did that every day and didn't work in an IT, job, all of that. But yeah, why not just concentrate on what you can do right now, be positive about it, promote it, and then you're the strongest on your block, and then maybe that's exactly what you want to achieve, and nothing more is important for you, and you just want to celebrate the other people that are doing more. It's a great. I don't know if you have kids, but that's a great like a little analogy for them too. It's a good teaching. Good.
I do. And now speaking of small goals matter, I take great achievement in the fact that I was able to get her to a quiet place right now so you and I can speak.
That is, I know. I don't have young kids anymore, but yes, I know how challenging that can be. But that's like a great little parenting metaphor and analogy too. So good for you. Good for you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. So tell me what made you, so you had that conversation in the elevator. You're like, I think I want to be in IT. And like, you just kind of made the decision, then you figure out how to do it. How did you get to that place? Were there people teaching you that? Did you teach yourself that? Like what made you successful early on and able to go to some of these other places that you to achieve like the position you're in now? What were you doing along the way?
Yeah, a lot of it was self-taught, but I think kind of one of the greatest lessons that I've learned along the way, because as I mentioned, right now I'm a manager. And when that was first offered to me, I was thinking like, I can't manage people. What makes you think I can manage people? But I think it's really important sometimes to value opinions from people who can see you from outside of yourself and see what skills you have to offer. So I had the benefit of having really great mentors at the time who said, we've been watching you for a few years, and here are the skills that you have that are easily translatable into that particular role. So I think kind of one really lesson learned is when others are giving you feedback about yourself, to have kind of that confidence to take it as fact, right? Take it as something that's worth exploring. So I've really enjoyed being a manager, and I get nothing but positive feedback from my team members. A lot of them say I'm the best manager they've ever had, and it's something that I really didn't want to do at the beginning. So that, for me, that's kind of the one lesson. If you have people that you trust who are seeing you from the outside, take what they're telling you about yourself as valuable feedback.
That's a great tip. And it also speaks to you as a manager, like that you're self-aware, because you wouldn't be able to take feedback from other people or say like, hey, what a value do I have to offer? You wouldn't even be able to ask those questions to get to the manager role that you're in if you weren't self-aware. Instead of saying like, oh, of course I can do that. Anyone can be a manager. I can do it better than anyone. You're just basically saying, do I have it? Yes, I do. Someone's telling me I do. And then like, what else do I need to do to be that manager? And it sounds like if you are a good one, and and if people are telling you that, it's like you said, take the feedback. So you can take the good and the bad, take it as facts and opinions and valuable, and then decide what you want to do with it. It's really good advice. Yeah. You can see why people say that. So tell me, what advice would you have for someone that's trying to figure out what they want to do with their lives, search for a meaningful career, whether they're just starting out in college or looking for their first or fifth career job? What would you say to those people?
Yeah, I mean, for people starting off in college, I think that, kind of a pro and con for how college is handled in this country as opposed to Italy, for example, where they make you specialize right away. Here, you have kind of a liberal arts type exposure to many things. So it's kind of good, at least in your freshman year, to be able to see what you might like. I went to Seton Hall. I had to take Intro to the Bible there. So, things that some other people might not even study in other places. And so, I mean, advice would be stay open to everything. I, as I said, had IT in my mind, and I didn't get directly into IT, but if I was closed-minded as to sort of that route that I took through contact centers, I would have never got there. So, or closed to the route of what's this QA thing I've never heard of? Of course, what are you running a scam on me? So I think just being open to to various different options, not only what you think you have to do. I thought I had to be a doctor because it's a prestigious, well-paying career. And, if I wasn't a doctor or a lawyer, then I'd be a failure. And so advice would be, especially in this day and age with social media and kind of the technology that's available, be open to a variety of different potential avenues.
Yeah, that's great advice. I have two comments on that. You're right. If you hadn't been open to that first job you had that, was, you said, people are calling and complaining or whatever, and if you had just been like, no, that's not for me, you wouldn't have met the next person that you met. So that's a huge one I think for young people, especially because they think they need to get like the coup de grace right off the bat. And if they don't, they can't be bothered. The other question I wanted to ask you about is when you, did you do this at a young age, or were you already closer to the end of finishing that first medical degree when you said you thought you wanted to be a doctor because of stuff that had happened in your family? How quickly did you realize that was the wrong path for you? I think that's really important for people.
I was managing the health food store while I was doing my biology degree. So I was definitely still in college at the time. I did my MBA much later. So I finished college in 99 and then got my MBA 5 years after that. So in 2004.
But when you that moment or that year that you were like, I don't think I want to be a doctor, what was it about it that, like you said, I need to go down another path?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely knew I didn't want to be a doctor, like I said, because my aunt passed away that year, and I just didn't like kind of the medical handling of her care. And that was kind of solidified when my father passed away in 97. And you have regrets there, right? Because I was still in college when he passed away. So I think like, oh, he didn't even get to see me graduate, and you start to internalize a lot of that stuff, but you kind of got to get past it, right? I did my best, and that was that. But yeah, there were situations there where he was cleared of medical conditions the same day he passed, where they said that those were the causes of his passing. So it was like a really kind of tragic situation where I wanted nothing to do with the industry anymore.
I think that's a big lesson for people. So whether you're emotionally involved in the lesson that you're getting or not, I think it's like for you to say like, I don't want to be a part of this system, or I don't want that to have to ever be me, or make that mistake or whatever. It's like, it's just like, how much can you take, or what are you willing to sacrifice to have that thing over there you want? And you weren't. I think that's a really big lesson for, again, for especially young.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, kind of like just to generalize that idea, I think it's important, and this is hard for people first moving into a career when they're young, but learning how to say no to things that don't make you happy career-wise. So this is something that I learned. I've been at the position I'm at now almost 11 years at this company, and the first 3 years were hard, were really hard. I wasn't a manager back then, and I was working 60, 70, 80-hour weeks. And I just had the good fortune of getting a manager one day who, and we'll talk about his character maybe a little later, but he's like the proverbial onion, right? Like he was tough, and he would talk to you in a way that came off condescending and made you feel like this guy's smarter than me and he knows it, like I'm afraid to even talk to him. But as the years went by, I got to really know him, and he was very nurturing. And one day he just told me, listen, you're going to burn yourself out. You need to stop working this way. It's hard on you, and your customers also are going to not get the best of you. So you got to start telling people no. And I started doing that. I would say, I usually tell this story. I say it took 3 months at least for people to get used to me saying no for the first time. But once you do that, I think you're just much happy. My career is like, I'm very, very happy with my career now. And that's the main lesson. If you're being asked to do something that's outside of your role, or something that, doesn't bring you enjoyment, of course, given within the confines of what you're expected to do by your management. But, in my role, I get asked to do things that aren't in my role all the time. And, if it's something I enjoy and I have time for, okay. But, you have to be okay unemotionally saying no, like that doesn't benefit me. And, I'm not able to do that for you.
Yeah, and that's another big and good lesson. It's not, you're the only one who has the ability to say no for yourself. And you always think like the world's going to come crashing down, or you're going to miss out on something, or someone's not going to like that you said no. But think about all the people around you that are actually saying no and still successful. I'm sure CEOs say no all the time. People don't want to be involved in whatever, and they get to say no. And we think, especially I think when we're climbing the corporate ladder or in our career, whatever we're doing, we think we have to say yes to everything so that people think we're yes people and we're willing to sacrifice anything. But that really doesn't end up helping you. I think younger people would probably think, oh, I'll just do that and then I'll have everything I want later. It doesn't really work that way. It's easy to see, like looking back now, I'm 51, and I can see that me saying yes to things that were stressing me out and I didn't do my best at or whatever, were really not benefiting anyone. You think I'll just do this, and then they'll say, next time I'm up for promotion, we'll give it to her because she says yes to everything. That's not who they give the promotions to.
Right.
The people that say yes to everything. And if it was that simple, it would always be those people promoted. It's not. And there's a reason behind it. Getting comfortable saying no. I also like what you said about the people around you. Had to get used to it for a couple of months, because if you are that yes person and always want to please people and do the right thing, you think saying yes is the right thing. It isn't necessarily. But if the people around you, if you've been doing it your whole life, and your corporate career or personally, people are like, oh, what's that about? Why are you being like that now? Oh, yeah, because I got smarter and that wasn't working for me. And you were concerned about it not working for me. You were just concerned about how it worked for you. And now I'm going to be more concerned about how this is going to work for me in my life. That's a huge, huge lesson.
Yeah, I mean, I think that personally, I think the people that get the promotions are the people that put themselves in a comfortable position to be able to produce good work.
Mm-hmm. It is really that simple. Good work, and yeah, like do what they say they're going to do, etc. And yeah, you don't have to be the yes person to be that person. It's good. You're getting lots of good lessons, John.
Yep. Thank you. I try. I mean, I'm 45 now too, so it took a while to get there.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, yeah, if we didn't have them now, we'd be in trouble, right? So what do you wish? So final question for you, and then I want to come back to that. You were going to tell me a story about, I think, that manager, the onion guy, the peeling the onion guy. But what do you wish you had earlier learned in your life or career? Is there anything that you're like,
I mean, that would be the lesson, to say no earlier. Like, yeah, I punished myself for 3 years just trying to please everybody, working excessive hours to the point where I definitely wasn't giving my best work. I was trying to, but it becomes physically impossible. So,
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, I would say that's the two lessons would be: one, learn how to push back in a constructive professional manner, and two would be more receptive to people that are recognizing value in you that you may not have recognized for yourself.
great lessons. It's so important. I like the feedback. And then also too, like when you're saying no, or you're saying yes, and you should be saying no, or you're not pushing back in a healthy way or whatever. A big one for me in the last probably 5 years was I would go back and say, I have a lot on my plate. You may not know everything, like especially if it's a manager. Can you tell me the time frame for that? And can you tell me what the priority is for that? Because I'm working on these 3 other things. I don't know if you were aware. Where would you put that one? And then they have to put it back on you instead of you trying to figure it all out and then get all stressed about it. The people that are in management and the people that are above you, giving you these, delegating these things to you, have more pull and more say and more insight into the company or whatever it is. And they can say with more clarity, you need to put that on the back burner. But if you're thinking yourself, everything is a priority one, you're stressing yourself out. Number one, not only do you not usually get what you want that way, you don't produce good work, like you already said. And then what ends up happening is like your personal relationships suffer. And then you're like telling the people that love you, oh, I'm pushing myself like this so I can get ahead, so we can have this and we can have that. And it's like, so that's suffering your personal life, right? Your work life isn't where you want it to be.
Mm-hmm.
And all you're doing is busting your ass. So it's like, it's not really just about, like you said, working hard and saying yes to everyone. And if it was that easy, all those people would be promoted. It doesn't work like that.
Right, right. Yeah, I mean, you made a good point about there being a lot of other stuff going on that people don't know about. That's actually a good metaphor for YouTube. People think you can open up a YouTube channel and be successful right away like PewDiePie and or Mr. Beast, and they don't realize those guys suffered for years before they had success in YouTube.
Yeah.
But it's a similar thing in the corporate workplace. Like your one task that's a deliverable for your customer may have 10 subtasks that need to be done to make that thing work, especially in software and enterprise software. And so like what I usually tell my team is, because they get stuck in this situation where, we as a vendor can only do our work after the customers deliver to us, some prerequisites, right? So the customer will say, yeah, well, we'll go work on that. And there isn't any planning or due dates associated, right? And so when they finally, and it's not their top priority either, right? They have their day jobs. So what they need to provide for us is kind of done in their spare time. So when they finally get it to us, then our task becomes something that needs to be done immediately, right? So I always push my team members to say, ask the customer for a due date, or actually better yet, give them a due date and make them tell you no if it doesn't work. And so, that this particular task should take them 3 days. So you tell them, would you be able to provide this back by Friday end of day? Make them say no to you if they can't. And if they say no, get some date, even if it's a far out ridiculous date, make them commit to something, because that way, at least you can plan around something solid and then, be more at ease mentally.
Yeah. And you don't think of it at the time, but you're doing them a favor. You think pushing back like that is actually, going to hurt the relationship or whatever. It's like, no, you're doing them a favor, making them put something in writing or like words, I'm thinking about this instead. And then you're also making them question, okay, wait a minute. Oh, you said it was going to be this. I never thought, oh, it actually is going to take longer than that thing. They might not thank you for it in the, when it's happening, but at least you'll get something. And then you'll have some parameters instead of just everything's just floating out there and everyone just thinks they're going to have what they want when they want it. But there's all these unanswered questions. Yeah. That's good advice. Mm-hmm. Thank you. So how, if people want to check out your YouTube channel or learn more about what you're doing with you're the strongest guy in the block, how do they get in touch with you or get a hold of you, check out your channel?
Yeah, so the channel is My Block's Strongest Man. So you can just search for that on YouTube and you'll be able to find that there, or I can provide you with the link as well.
Yep.
My email address is russobusinessconsulting@gmail.com. So you can always reach me there for any collabs or further information. I'm actually have a couple collaborations in the works now, finally, after working on the channel since July. So very happy about those coming up. I actually am collaborating with another fitness YouTuber who's an actual amateur strongman. So his name is Hunger Smash Fitness. So it's kind of a play on his last name, but
Yeah.
Yeah, so we got that one going, and then there's a big pro strongman contest happening in Kentucky, the Mammoth Strength Challenge 5, the 23rd of this month, and I've been talking with them, and they like my stuff so much they actually want to make me the official after show live stream of their contest.
Oh,
So really, really excited about that. Yeah.
that's awesome, John. That also talks to your, your ambition. Like you're doing this because it's a hobby. You think it'd be fun to have this YouTube channel, and now you get to meet the people that you're admiring, and then they get to admire you and your work. And so it's like like look what you're creating just because you went and did something you were interested in with your hobby. So good for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, these guys are great because they really are trying to promote the growth of the sport, and they're really kind of open to promoting anybody. Like they told me, if we didn't have this whole world situation right now and you can come in person, we'd even have you on live doing analysis with us. And so I was on a Facebook group, and one of the other members was talking with me about the event, and I, told him on a strongman Facebook group about this Mammoth Strength Challenge, and he's like, "Oh yeah, those guys are great. They're actually letting me sing the national anthem for their contest this year." So apparently, like, they're really open to promoting people and whatever you want to do. So it's really, I'm very happy to be working with them.
That's a win-win, sounds like. And then it's something for you to look forward to when everything does open up. You can go analyze it, like, and be around the sport that you're so excited about. Can I make one more recommendation to put on your plate?
Absolutely.
So maybe you have in you, John Russo, a little how-to guide for upcoming managers or up-and-coming managers. Like you have a little leadership, like you can make your lessons like chapters of a little guide for people that are, I keep saying little, but I'm just thinking to not overwhelm you with the whole book, but you make a guide like how to bring managers or something. Be cool.
It's funny you mentioned that because that could be a sequel. I actually do have an ebook on Amazon on onboarding, on professional. So it's called Onboarding the Right Way, and you can find it on Amazon. So maybe a sequel.
Yeah, I think that would be an awesome idea. I think I know just from my LinkedIn experience in the last 3 or 4 months with connecting with a lot of entrepreneurs on there, that it is a big gap in the HR world as far as like people will get promoted as managers and they may just indeed have the skills necessary. More than not, they're really good at what they do. They just haven't been taught how to mentor people and give feedback and develop people and all of those really important soft skills that just aren't taught, or people don't have the time to get them. And they don't, and even if they have a great mentor, they're not coming and saying, "Oh, here's how you give feedback. Here's how you do this." They don't answer the question until you have a problem with it. So it'd be cool to have a little guide to say, like, here's how you can, again, without overwhelming, you have this new role and you have to do all these other extra things. And it's like, oh, and then here's the top 5 things that you're going to get asked about the most, or that are going to come across your desk the most. And here's how I would handle them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And in fact, maybe a topic for another time with you and I, the difference between managing and coaching. So I get put in that position all the time. Like, I'll have somebody who's a project manager. "Oh, so-and-so on your team, I think this is a coachable moment. You should speak to them." And what they really mean is reprimand them. And that's not what business coaching is. I have a certification in business coaching. So maybe a discussion for another time.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I read that book. I have it right over there and I can't read it. It's about coaching and all the right questions to ask. It's like, you're right. It's definitely a learned sport, if you will, coaching. Yes. All right. Well, thanks, John. I appreciate all your insights today and excited for you and your success with your YouTube channel. It sounds like fun, and best of luck to you in everything that you do. Can't wait to see you on the V50 calls.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. Thanks so much for having me. I had a great time, and looking forward to more discussions in the future.
All right. And tell your daughter, good job staying quiet.
Yeah. My son's sleeping, so he's easy, but
Okay.
I will. Thank you.
All right. Take care. Bye. Thanks for listening. If you love this content, please rate us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts or whichever platform you found us on. You can get all my social media links in the description below. Help us keep the momentum going so that every person can live their lives happily, doing work they love.